Welcome to the subject of Blackout. My name is Timo, and with me, as always, is Mike. Mike, how you doing?
Right, Tim, how are you?
I'm doing well. This past week, we decided to indulge the Paramount Plus series, Halo, based on the video game series Halo, which, as previously stated, was
based on the novel multimedia textual whatever series, Halo.
Based
on the coloring books.
And of course, the coloring books were based off of Ulysses.
Yes.
So this goes deep. No, but we decided to. Well, I personally decided to take the plunge into the Paramount Plus streaming service just for this series because Halo holds a fond place in both of our hearts.
Sure.
And they released episode 1, and I figured out why they're not doing a binge of any kind is because this was originally supposed to premiere on Showtime, and they moved it to Paramount Plus at the last minute.
Oops.
Yeah.
Confidence or lack of confidence? I'm interested to know why.
I am also interested to know because they have already greenlit a season 2 well before the first episode aired.
Really?
Yes. So there is some amount of confidence coming from Paramount with this particular series. And Mike, we watched episode 1 together on Friday, and I'm wondering, do you, after seeing that, share that same confidence in this series?
This was one of those rare moments we talked about where you go on Rotten Tomatoes and you see a consensus between the audience and the critics, and you're like, that seems about right.
Yeah,
Normally I'm like a dick about how Netflix doesn't appreciate the vision, but like, I would say this is a 63. Seems pretty accurate. It's 63. This is one of those times where you don't really need character development. You just need violence.
That's true. And what I think, I watched the episode with you, and before we jumped on here, I actually watched pretty much the first half of the first episode again. Just to kind of refresh my minds, because I was reading the plot summary on Wikipedia earlier, and I was like, I don't remember that happening. I don't remember that plot detail. So apparently we weren't paying super close attention, but
It was a little confusing. They were inviting us into a lot of conversations. It's like, I don't have context for this. This isn't in the game.
Or care. Which
isn't the flood. I don't get it.
Yeah. The series drops you into an insurrectionist outpost.
Yep.
And they're doing general world setup that I don't need because I've played Halo before.
Yep, don't care.
And I really didn't want it either.
Just drop me in a box canyon with 2 bases. Let me have a Puma. We're good.
And I was worried when we were initially watching it, and then it immediately goes to a violent attack from the Alien Covenant.
Right.
And
that was cool.
That was very cool. It was more graphic than any of the video games were.
Very graphic, yeah. Usually, you don't see limbs flying off. You just see
people were getting like gorily exploded.
Nobody respawns either.
No one was respawning whatsoever.
Yeah.
And they murdered a lot of children. On my second viewing, I realized a lot of kids get killed.
It was mostly children. Yeah.
A lot of children. I think our female protagonist that we were kind of introduced to, whose name I did not learn while watching 1.5 times this episode.
Quan. But
sure.
You can call her Baby Yoda.
That is true.
Because that's basically her role.
Yeah.
She's the only one that survives.
Yes, she's the only insurrectionist who survives, while John 117, the Master Chief, and a couple other Spartans, 2 or 3, also just drop in and save the day for one person.
Yeah, so we have a lot of cool, nondescript, masked mercenaries in space, and this random, helpless girl who one of these mercenaries becomes attached to for reasons that aren't entirely offered to us. but part of
No.
it is because of some kind of, I don't know, memory thing. Anyway, it's The Mandalorian.
So far, yes, and I've seen that in some reviews that I've read the blurbs of on Rotten Tomatoes. It's The Mandalorian with gorier deaths, and I'm fine for that. But I think what that overlooks and what I'm not thrilled about, but something that may end up being true and something that you might like more than I do is I feel like this series is going to be, as Red Letter Media would call it, schlock.
I hope so. I hope they don't try and make it real. I hope it's trash.
Well,
I want it to be violent, and I don't want anyone to learn anything or grow.
I think people will attempt to learn and grow, but I still think there will be much schlock. Because I was looking at the showrunner's history, and one of them is famous for having 2 pilots at a very young age get to air. One of those series went to Fox and was canceled after the 2nd episode.
Great.
And the rest of the episodes never aired. And the other was on NBC, and it looked like it went a full 13 episodes and also got canceled. I had never heard of either one of these shows.
Okay.
Good sign.
Right.
But that's what his Wikipedia says that he's known for. And the other showrunner has a long history with what I like to call the TNT dramas. They may not necessarily be on TNT, but it was a long list of Rizzolian Isles type quality show, which is turn your brain off type television.
Right.
It's not precisely what I was hoping for when someone was like, we're going to do a big budget Halo television show. But Mike, that might be what we're getting.
I'm really worried that the showrunners have taken the source material and they're like, what if we make it 3-dimensional? Like, what if instead of exploring Master Chief, that's not who's interesting? You know who's interesting? This fucking side character that no one gives a fuck about. Like, I'm really worried about that kind of like production meddling happening.
Sure.
I want it to be schlock, but I want it to be schlock that is kind of lockstep with the series, with like a lot of fan service. And again, very little character development. I don't care about people's feelings. Even like within the first episode, Master Chief takes off his helmet. First of all, his face, ew. But I think it's
not very nice of Pablo Schreiber.
He's a lesser Baldwin? Ah, Schreiber. Okay.
He's Liev Schreiber's half brother.
Billy Baldwin.
It's Billy Baldwin as John 117.
Luke Wilson.
Wow. Wow, is that the Covenant? That's wild.
Dave Wahlberg as Master Chief.
Okay, the other Wahlberg, I'm pretty sure, is his name Dave? I don't remember. Donnie.
Feels like Dave.
It was Donnie.
Yeah.
Donnie Wahlberg is very good in Band of Honor or Band of Brothers. Sorry, he's very good in that. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything else, but Donnie Wahlberg can act.
Donnie Wahlberg as Master Chief. Like, I didn't need to see face. I didn't give a shit what he looked like. So I'm already worried that this is going to go away from like, yes, he's Master Chief, but like, what makes him tick? I don't care. Put the mask back on.
Yeah,
so people in the face.
Let me set up what happens in the rest of this episode. So there's this insurrectionist base battle.
Yep.
And then we get Catherine Halsey interfering with sort of what's going on with Master Chief because he touches this relic and all of a sudden he's getting memories and he becomes friends with the insurrectionist girl and doesn't kill her against command and goes rogue. And that is the fast version of what happens in this episode. To me, I'm very concerned because the first half of the episode was fine and cool in spots. But to me, the second half of the episode completely misses out on what is interesting about John 117 and the Halo series in and of itself.
Right. So it sets up a lot of like political intrigue, which like theoretically, I guess, could develop into something interesting. So
Sure.
it's not worth throwing it all out for episode 1. Again, 63% is fine. But yeah, the excitement in that episode is definitely in the first 10 minutes, and it is an hour long.
Yes. But my problem with the second half, and it goes into both the Baby Yoda of it all, and it goes into what they're doing with Master Chief, like emblematic of them not understanding the interesting aspects of John 117 is absolutely the perfect representation of that is the mask coming off in the first episode.
Right.
Like Mandalorian episode
2 seasons.
Yeah, episode like 3 or 4.
Seasons.
No, at the end of season 1, the robot sees him. Remember?
Oh yeah, the robot does see him.
But it was just the robot. And it was just a little tease. But you know, we get some hints throughout episodes that the Mandalorian's taking his mask off when no one's around, but we can't see his face. Right. And this show couldn't go 1 episode, 1 hour without showing you Pablo Schreiber as Master Chief. And the
big reveal's already done.
The thing that to me is super interesting about John 117 is that he doesn't have a past, nor does he care about it. Right. The only family or friend that he has in this world is
vengeance.
No, it's not vengeance. He's not Batman. He's way cooler than Batman. Is an AI that is modeled after the monster who took him from his parents and genetically modified him into a super soldier who has no opinions or beliefs or likes or dislikes. He's just a humanoid machine that is made to go on. Like, he's not happier than when he's given direct orders to do, like, to accomplish a goal, and then he just goes and does it. Like, and his only connection to the human world is an artificial intelligence of this monster who created him.
Yeah.
That's interesting. There's narrative detail to go into this, and this series makes it clear to me early on that they want to have John have a backstory, and they want him to feel emotions and connect with other human beings. And it's like, that's not interesting.
Cares? Yeah. That's what everybody does. Watch, the Baby Yoda is going to end up getting killed, but like uploaded. Baby Yoda is going to become Cortana. Just watch. She totally is.
The woman who plays Cortana, the voice actor for the video games, is returning as the voice actor for Cortana in the series.
Okay, so, well, that's reassuring.
Yeah, so there's that. That's nice. But again, like, I don't want John as a character to grow. That's not what the Master Chief does. He's fully formed as an automaton. And what's cool, what you can do, or what you, in my opinion, you should do, is what like the series does, and talks about the people around him and how he interacts with the world writ large. But instead, we're just going to get copious amounts of backstory about how John feels feelings and how he, you know, he needs to have his heart touched. Yeah. I want him to murder feelings.
Or I just want him to kill somebody who looks identical to him, but is slightly a different color. Like, I don't mean That'd like cool. black and white. I mean like red and blue.
Yeah. That would make a lot of sense to me as well.
Maybe I'd like him to kill somebody and then rapidly crouch and stand up over and over and over again as a show of dominance. Yeah. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'd like him to scream into his headset that his mom is bothering him and he just wants some motherfucking chocolate milk. Maybe that's what I want.
I don't think that's too much to ask. Speaking to that, what did you think of how they dealt with callbacks and references to the video games in the first episode?
I mean, in the beginning, in the first kind of 15 minutes, like the action element, I thought it was great. I mean, the precedent for uh, making a movie of a first person shooter is Doom, and that had kind of like a cool first person shooter, sort of like gun eye view sequence.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was kind of really well executed here, and a lot of the weapons and all of the kind of movements and stuff resembled the game. So it did seem like kind of cinematic cuts from the game. I thought that was actually pretty cool. I was hoping that they would just continue doing that.
Yeah. In fact, on second viewing, it was a little jarring getting the first person perspectives the first time through, but the second time through, I hardly noticed it. So yeah, I kind of dig that. I dig that a lot of the sound effects are very true to the video game. You get shield regeneration noises and shield warning noises, and the guns all sound like the guns. And,
yeah.
And
I like that.
that's nice. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that attention to detail.
I wish they had done... Yes. I wish they had done more with the original music, because that score fucking rocks the shit. And
Steve Vai.
Yeah, and this is fine. The music in this was fine, but like, just give me the big, fucking I think Martin O'Donnell. Chorus. Yeah, just fucking go for it, man. I also thought it was a weird departure from the Halo series in that now the Covenant have like a human like ally person who's going to be like the main.
Yeah, who the hell is she?
Yeah, that
was weird.
Why do the Covenant need a human in order for me to care about their story? Halo 2
she become so fluent in that alien language too. That was like, wow.
She must have been kidnapped just like John. Parallel stories.
Whoa.
Yeah, so they've both become, Mike, I've written this season just in my brain right now. They both are taken away from their families at a young age and indoctrinated into two different series. But maybe they can find a middle path together.
Whoa.
That's gonna suck.
On a Halo.
Yeah, like just have the Arbiter, Like give me a morally complex alien, and that'd be cool.
Thanos.
Why can't we do that? Yeah. Anyway. So, speaking of the human bad guy, another weird little thing is that she's reading a book that at least I have not heard of. But it is a real book called The Dawn of Angels.
Yeah, I don't know that one. Is it a real book?
It is a real book. I looked it up, and here is the summary of Dawn of Angels from Goodreads.com. Left by her mother at a young age. Mm-hmm. Who does that sound like? Kira has grown up in a foster system, leaving her angry and hateful towards the world. The only person she can trust is Hammond Cortana, maybe? Her caseworker, who has also watched over her since the time her mother left, when Hammond places Kira in a foster home located in a small town, like an insurgent outpost. Strange things begin happening, and Kira starts unraveling the mystery of her past. When Kira's life is threatened, she is saved by an angel, her guardian angel, Asher, who falls from heaven to save her. You know who else falls from heaven to save people? Master Chief. Yeah, so, yeah.
Well, that's ham-fisted.
Right? Isn't that like, this is exactly what they're going to do with this season?
Yeah, that's even just like a little bit more than like the shape of the crack on the wall is based on the director's second childhood home. It's like, that's even that's okay. Well, now, spoiler, that's the entire season 1. Spoiler.
Correct. And also, this takes place in 2552. And what we learned during the series is that like the leaders of the UNSC, Miranda Reach, Miranda Keys are on Reach, which falls prior to Halo. So it also falls in 2552. So that is also a thing that we're going to get by the end of the season is the fall of Reach. I know. So,
okay.
Like, this whole thing is written in my brain, and this is why I'm telling you, so you know what to expect. So the action scenes gotta be good, and they gotta make up for a very thin on the nose plot, because this has to go schlock, otherwise it's just gonna be crap.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, we're on the same page there. It's gotta be. It's 10 episodes, right? So it's going straight into May. So we're gonna have this for about 2.5 months, so.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wasn't impressed. I was surprised by how gory and action-packed the first 20 minutes, like we said, of the episode were, and then everything sort of ground to a halt and became immediately forgettable for me.
Yep. That was pretty much my assessment as well.
So, I don't know. Pablo Schreiber was a subpar Master Chief, but maybe he'll get better. But yeah,
Luke Wilson, maybe.
I'm just seeing so many red flags popping up with this series that I'm worried, Mike. And we consider doing this a more in-depth dive for the run of this show, and I'm glad we've decided against that, because this might not be a series that I can continue following for all 10 episodes.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, Mike, why don't we take a quick little break and we'll come back with more. Next week on Subject to Blackout, Mike and I will be taking a week off due to a little vacation hiatus. We will catch up with you guys again in April. We're not quite sure where we're headed with the next podcast, but what we are sure of is that we're excited for you guys to join us. We'll probably have a little bit more Halo to talk about, and I'll probably be able to sum up some of the shows that I've been watching that I haven't yet quite finished. We also might have a few takes on what just happened at the Oscars, which just happened as I'm recording, and Will Smith slapped a bitch, but it's too early to tell right now. So, we shall see. Join us in 2 weeks on Subject to Blackout. All right, Mike, I'll ask you one last Halo question now that we're back from the break. See if you can settle a question for me that I would always get into arguments with some friends from college.
Oh, great.
Who would win in a fight, Master Chief or Captain America? I can go first if you want.
What guns does Master Chief have?
All of the guns. Whichever guns you want.
Master Chief would win.
Yes. Yes.
All he has to do is wait for the radical to flash red when he's holding the sword, and then just stab Captain America.
Yeah. He'll fly across a room.
Yeah. Done.
Yeah, the answer is clearly and obviously Master Chief.
Right.
Because he is exactly what Captain America is. He's a super soldier. But instead of
he's wearing armor.
Shield, he has full body armor.
Covered in a shield.
And guns. He also has guns and is willing to kill. I'm glad we agree on this. I have some friends who are like,
stupid.
Cap would kick his ass.
Friends.
Yes. Thank you. Now that that's settled, Mike, was there anything else you've been consuming this week other than a little bit of basketball?
Oh God, what have I been doing? I've been watching Alone on Netflix. It's a game show that's normally on History Channel where people are abandoned in different parts of the wilderness and expected to just sort of outlast each other. Okay. And whoever stays out there long enough gets a bunch of money. And basically it's just a TV show about people wasting away, isolated by themselves with their own thoughts. So it's really nice to sit there in the warmth and comfort of your own home and eat snacks while you watch people do everything they can just to capture and snap the neck of a squirrel and then eat it like Bear Grylls. It's great. Totally recommend it.
Sounds like excellent television.
Yeah.
So I just wrapped up Our Flag Means Death. I believe I wrapped up. It was 10 episodes that I watched. So that's usually at this point in the streaming world what a full season goes for. And highly enjoyable. A comedy that's about real life pirates, which I did not realize when I started watching. And sort of like kind of backdoors itself into a story about inclusion and diversity. So
yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah. So very much enjoyed that. But I've also been watching the Hulu series Dropout, which is about the Theranos scandal. Are you aware of the Theranos stuff?
Maybe. Who the hell's Theranos?
So Theranos was a company founded by a woman named Elizabeth Holmes, which was supposed to give the drop of blood.
The blood one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
she lied.
Yeah.
She got in trouble.
Yes, she did. And so this is a season-long narrative version of that documentary. Yeah, it's still coming out week by week on Hulu. Starring Amanda Seyfried. And I'm trying to think if there's anybody else really famous in it. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Oh,
it's not a documentary. It's a dramatization.
No, it's a dramatization of like the inner workings of what happened. But if you've watched that documentary, it's like you can find all of the people they interviewed as characters in the show.
Nice. Okay.
And Amanda Seyfried is very good in it, playing a particularly weird in real life woman, Elizabeth Holmes.
Right.
But totally you know who is in it other than Amanda Seyfried is Ferris Bueller's friend.
Cameron.
Yes, Cameron. The guy who played Cameron is
you're looking for
a
the
Walgreens.
Name. I have no idea.
Oh no, I have no idea. I'm not gonna look it up. It's Cameron. But he plays like a Walgreens executive who is so perfectly on the nose of someone in like my dad's generation. Nice. I'm like, you rock. You are nailing exactly, because Walgreens is based in Chicago. So he's like a Chicago guy in the show. Right. And it's just like, you are exactly one of my uncles, and kudos to you because you're perfect. He is also an executive at a business and just like nails the part. It's very funny. But yeah, that's been an entertaining series. And yesterday I was doing a bunch of projects around the house, so I wanted to put on something, little background TV. And since I had Hulu, I finally put on Pam and Tommy. Have you watched any of Pam and Tommy?
I haven't, but it seems great.
Is
that Sebastian
Stan?
Stan?
It's Winter Soldier.
Do you see his pee-pee?
You do.
Is it a double, or was he like...
I would have to, and here's why. I would have to imagine it's a double, because at one point it starts talking and it's Jason Mantzoukich's voice.
Sure.
So,
of course it is. Who else could do the voice?
If you can't get Tommy Lee's actual dick to talk, then you get Jason Mantzoukich's to talk for it.
Yeah, that seems right.
Yeah, so it's very good. It kind of takes you through different characters in different episodes. Like, they're not solely focused on one character, but there's definitely like, oh, this is a mostly about Pam episode, or mostly about Tommy, or mostly about the guy who stole the stuff, which is played by Seth Rogen. And it's like 8 episodes. It's highly watchable TV, and it's very well done. But one of the things that you realize is just like, oh, out of the 3 main characters in this story, Pamela, Tommy Lee, and the guy who stole the tape, all of their lives were basically ruined by this theft and the production of this movie.
I didn't realize there were consequences.
Yeah,
but I rarely do for
neither did
stuff.
Seth Rogen's character. He did not see any of the consequences coming.
Yeah. Whoa, crazy.
Yeah, wild stuff. It's really funny. In a couple of the episodes, he gets like viscerally mad. So he steals the tape, and through a series of shenanigans finds a way to start selling VHS versions of the tape. And then like
that's American. That's
yeah.
American. Right?
Then like 2 weeks later, he's like really mad because some guy is selling bootlegs of the bootleg outside of a Tower Records for like $20. And he's like, "You're stealing my property." It's like, well, bud, if we want to talk about stolen property, like I think you're the guy to talk about.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very funny at times, kind of sad because everybody's life gets ruined. You kind of feel bad for everyone, even though two of the main characters are kind of assholes.
Pamela gets to does she marry or just date Kid Rock? I mean,
that's in the future, and I think that can be looked as a negative consequence, because she was married to Tommy Lee, and this kind of ruined their marriage.
I don't know. He's on the board at Waffle House, and both contract and be cleared of hepatitis C.
They don't broach that in the show, so allegedly. I know Tommy Lee got hepatitis C at one point, but I don't know if that was with Pam or someone else. But he definitely, I'm pretty sure, got hep C.
Man, remember when Motley Crue was a really important band? Because I sure don't.
The show is basically mostly set in 1995 and 1996, and a lot of the plot is dealing with that fact. like Motley Crue is well past their prime. At one point, they walk into like their studio, and they're like, "Yeah, oh, hey, front desk lady," and he like turns down a hallway, and she's like, "Oh, you're in Studio B." So he like Tommy Lee walks into Studio B, and Motley Crue is in this tiny ass studio, and they're like, "What the fuck? Why aren't we in Studio A?" I'm like, "We're gonna go find out who's in fucking Studio A." And they walk in, and they're like, "Who are you fuckers?" And they're like, "We're Third Eye Blind." And I don't know if it was meant to be a punchline, but I laughed. It was very funny. Yeah, they kind of made Third Eye Blind look like they were being hard, which maybe they are hard in real life, but
maybe
their music is certainly not the hardest.
No.
All right, Mike, that's all I got for right now. Did you do anything else this week?
No, I got nothing aside from Alone.
All right, then. For those of you listening along, you can head on over to subjecttoblackout.com to reach out to us, where you can find all of our links to our socials, including Instagram, Patreon, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also feel free to rate, review, and subscribe. And lastly, you can find Mike on Instagram and Twitter at NameTakenPodcasts. Mike, thank you for joining me.
Right on, Tim.